Hello and welcome to the mainstream. We are at the first edition of the GCC Convert Summit and Awards 2025 brought to you by the mainstream, presented by Airtel Business and powered by Kindle. I am Simran Shiwalkar, your host for today. I have with me Mr. Manish Kumar Sinha. He is
Hi,
this
Simran.
Hi. He is the CEO of Zamun, a B2B marketing agency based in India. Manish, firstly, thank you once again for joining me, and I would like to know how has your experience been at this converge?
Still going on. I think the experience is very, very good. Lots of senior leaders discussing really deep topics and important topics for GCCs. As you know, GCC has been around in different shapes and forms since the last 20 years, but
Right.
very significant growth happening right now. And with growth come challenges of talent acquisition, of technology, security, ESG, and all those topics are being discussed. So I'm very glad that I'm here.
Fantastic. Manish, you also spoke about challenges and talent acquisition being one of them. If you could throw some light on, because talent acquisition is one of the top priorities for the global capability centers in India. If you could share your perspective around that.
Well, first, talent is the reason why the capability centers are actually coming to India, right? Because we have so many engineers, the highest number of engineers and STEM graduates in the world are coming out of here. That's the reason why people are setting up their global capability centers here. But talent quality varies a whole lot in India, right? Not every engineering or science degree is the same.
Right.
Not every student has the ability or every professional has the ability to actually add value at the same level. So choosing the right talent becomes probably the most important problem to solve for a GCC. And that is where I think people should be investing in, figuring out both how to choose and how to retain talent. So it's some of the basic stuff is not always done, like a good survey on what is the upcoming compensation techniques for people, plus also nice and simple screening tests, training programs, those kinds of things. Still, India is actually very good at it, but there is scope to improve.
Absolutely. We are seeing a rise in the number of GCCs. We almost have, I think, around 2050 GCCs based in India itself, a lot of them being based in Bengaluru. How do you think India is coming up as a market? Because if you see at the last decade, GCCs have evolved over the years, merely from BPOs or normal businesses, the verticals have increased and even the market has increased, whether it's US or UK. As from a business point of view, how do you think this evolution has shaped up the perspective of the India landscape?
Also, it started with the cost arbitrage, the BPO, right? And then maybe it was around 2000, 2005 type time frame. Then from 2005 to 2010 or so, we were doing some innovation and global innovation centers were happening. And since 2011-12, the whole story has been moving towards capability centers. Now, clearly, there is a lot more growth. I mean, we are seeing a 10 to 15% growth year on year. Lots of centers, not just US and UK, but companies from mainland Europe, Australia, everyone's opening their capability centers here. India is clearly very capable, but the real thing that needs to get done is actually spreading of these capabilities beyond core centers. Right now, it's spread in 4 or 5 centers. So Bangalore takes almost 50% of all the GCCs, right? Then comes Hyderabad and NCR and then some in Mumbai, but basically it peters off after that. Whereas there's a lot of really good talent in different parts of the country, and with the internet connectivity and distributed workforce and availability of co-working centers, these centers can actually be the India hub, and access to talent from all over the country can be there. And I think that's kind of the next step, right? Where instead of having, people are distributing capability centers from US to India. Why not from core centers in India to other centers? Right? The security environment is all there. The talent environment is all there. That's the direction in which it should go.
Absolutely. I think, would it be safe to assume that this would be the future of GCCs, when we talk about India emerging as one of the international hubs for excellence and in terms of talent pool and also cost cutting and operational efficiency?
Also, I think the real driver now that we are not all about cost is talent access. And since we talked about talent acquisition, it is actually difficult to get talent. But if you think about reaching talent where they are, then it becomes relatively easier, right?
Right.
And with India being very well networked now, it's only getting better, right? I think the next step is actually not bringing all the world into these 5 main centers in India, all the talent into the 5 main centers. It's probably going to be more like, say, 60-40. 60% of the talent is housed in these big cities, but you also have access to talent from the rest of the country, right? Plus the availability of AI and so many of those things that will allow for better communications, better back and forth discussion. Language barriers are coming down.
Right.
So I do believe that the next step is to access talent from all across the country.
Fantastic. And lastly, any key takeaways from today's summit that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, I do think there was a very interesting session on ESG, and one thing that I noticed is happening in GCC, just like I noticed in my experience in manufacturing, is that even though it is extremely economical and logic driven to do much better environmental management and control of carbon credits and all that, still people are not actually investing all that much in that.
Right.
And since we are distributing capability centers to India, probably the focus on ESG should go up.
Absolutely. Manish, thank you once again for joining us in this summit today and sharing your critical insights. While we conclude this, I definitely look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you so much, Simran.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.